Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Football Heritage Podcast with me, your boy Josh.
It's me, Denzel.
Come on. It's been a while since I last introduced the pod, you know, it feels a bit different, but,
man.
you know, back to the old ways.
The OG ways.
You know the ones. But yeah, let's get straight into it. You know, we're looking at the Euros and we're looking at, most specifically, England. I was asking now, we were talking about it before, don't you think the vibe of the country is a bit down because England's not playing as
well
as
they should
yeah.
or expected. Yeah, I feel like that is the case, to be honest. I've been watching the Euros religiously over the past week, and England, after the England game, the last England game, it kind of put a downer on my mood, I'll be honest, because of beforehand you're watching great football. You've got the lesser anticipated countries like Romania,
Georgia,
the Georgias, the Turkeys, putting on great performances, playing great football, and then you've got England who come and put a massive damper on it. So it has put a damper on the mood of the nation because we all expected us to be flying right now. Obviously, that's not been the case, and you've seen other countries such as Germany and Spain performing at such a high level. So yeah, it has had an effect on mood on the country and the nation because we're not as optimistic as we were coming into the tournament. But like a lot of people have said, even Carl Walker said, it's key not to panic. There is room for panic because if you want to be playing good football, but there's another angle to look at it in the sense that it can only get better from here. There's no way they can perform as bad as they've done for the past couple games. So yeah, has put a damper on the nation. Yeah.
So what we're gonna do two parts now.
Yeah.
We're gonna do problem and we're gonna do solution.
Yeah.
So let's look at the problems. So we're gonna break it down, but I want your opinion first. I want you to decipher some of the top 3 issues that you've seen watching England so far. So yeah, I just want to hear yours.
So I've got 3 issues with the England team. Number 1, Gareth Southgate. Number 2, squad balance. Number 3, the caliber of the player in the squad. Okay, so they're all interlinked, so we're gonna go through them and break it down. So number 1, Gareth Southgate. A lot of people don't like Southgate. I am one of those people. I think that he's tactically inept. I don't think he has the cojones to lead England to glory. I feel like when you look at other countries such as Italy, they've got Spalletti. You've got Germany, you've got Nagelsmann. These are managers with caliber. I feel like, if I'm being honest, Southgate's on a similar level to Deschamps. I don't think Deschamps is that amazing of a coach, but because of the experience that he's had as being a winner in that French squad, and also the experience of just having winners in his squad, it's helped him, and he's blessed with a lot of talent. But with Gareth Southgate, I feel like he makes a lot of excuses. He contradicts himself quite a lot as well. So we saw in his interview, he said, we don't have a natural replacement for a Calvin Phillips, which is, I think, just an absurd thing to say in the heat of a tournament, considering the fact that Calvin Phillips has been very poor this season, and you have so much talent in the squad. You have players like Kobbie Mainoo, Adam Wharton, Conor Gallagher, and who can play the so-called Calvin Phillips role. And I think it just shows an ability to not evolve as well. And also, he's been talking a lot about the balance of the squad, and we're experimenting. So he's called Trent in midfield an experiment. Now, I don't know about you guys, but me personally, I don't feel like you should be experimenting in international football. You've had 2 years since the last, 1 year because of the World Cup, but you've had time since the last international tournament to experiment. Now is the time where we shouldn't be experimenting anymore because no other countries are experimenting. So that's the issue I have with Southgate. 2 is the balance in the squad. I feel like he's fitting a lot of round holes and square pegs. You've got the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold, like I said before, playing in midfield when he's actually a right back. There's a reason why he plays at right back for Liverpool and comes into the midfield. You've got Phil Foden playing on the left. There's a reason why Phil Foden doesn't play on the left for Man City. You've got Trippier playing at left back. There's a reason why Trippier doesn't play at left back. He even had kind of a poor season in general at right back for Newcastle. Yeah. So these things, it's causing an imbalance in the squad, and you've got a lot of superstars in the squad. That's the third thing, caliber of player. You've got a lot of superstars in the squad, and it's just fitting them into the right system. I don't feel like you have to put all of our stars in the starting lineup, if I'm being completely honest. I feel like find a system that works the best and fit the players that fit the system, because every country has a system in this tournament. That's what we've seen. You don't necessarily have to have the best players, but as long as the system is good, you'll be successful in the tournament. Like we've seen, for example, a lot of Man City players have come out of the Man City system and they're not playing as well as they would under Pep, and that shows how important the system is, especially in international football as well. So he needs to stop relying on moments, because I feel like right now we have a lot of players like Bellingham, Foden, Kane, Saka. Barring Saka, they've all been poor. And Bellingham in the first game was pretty good. But we need to stop relying on moments and actually have a structure. And we don't necessarily need all of the stars in the starting lineup to have that. So personally, I'd reshuffle it and play players in their natural position. So yeah.
I look at it, I hear you about the balance, especially that with Trent in midfield. I've always looked at Trent, look, yeah, he's got great passing range in it, but you know, playing in midfield is a different ball game. You know, your spatial awareness needs to be great. You need to be able to play in the swivel, you know.
Yeah.
You have to be one step ahead. You know?
Exactly, yeah.
With Trent, you know, you kind of your line of vision's sort of very limited in that sense, where it's just what's in front, you know, but in midfield there's a lot going
it's a lot
behind
more
you.
than just playing
So obviously he hasn't really played midfield like that as well, so there is a development in play midfield, but I think, like you're saying, is this really the right time to be experimental with that? You know, the guy is at 24, 25 now. You know, if he didn't have it when he was, you know, 20, 21, why are you expecting him to develop it now all of a sudden, you know? So I hear that, Trent. With Foden, look, I don't have as much time in terms of, you know, babying Foden. I think people baby him a bit too much. Look,
we spoke about it in the last podcast.
He's played out wide for City as well. I just look at him as well as someone that, look, you've got talent, but you have to show you're a bad boy now, innit?
Yeah, and, you know what's funny? I was on a bus. I was around Stratford and I saw there's a Nike advert where it says the only it's got Phil Foden on it. It says the only position I'm not comfortable in is losing. I started laughing to myself. This guy, apart from the number 10 role, he can't play anywhere else. So that's a lie. Like, they put so much hype on him, and obviously I don't want to go too much into the Phil Foden thing, because as you've seen in the last episode, we completely took a deep. This was before the tournament, bearing in mind. So we knew that he was going to stink it up. But I don't really want to go into Phil Foden too much, because we've already done that in the previous episodes. Now we're just finding solutions for that. So I'm gonna leave Foden for now. When the tournament finishes, we can talk about him. But
my issue with him is just, look, I want him to be a bit more direct, a bit more aggressive. I feel like he's a bit too passive. I understand, and again, it goes in the balance in terms of him and Foden. No, you know, him and Bellingham are kind of
in each other's spaces.
So you can kind of see that connection, and obviously these things don't happen in the space of 2 days. You know, it grows in it, but you can kind of tell they don't truly have a understanding of how to work off each other, innit? And that doesn't work, because you can't play 2 10s.
Two advanced eights.
You see it with Germany with Wirtz and Musiala, so it's not like it's impossible, but it's also the understanding. And then I know people have spoken about Kane, innit? But obviously having 2 10s and then you have Kane up top,
it's a mess. It's balance-wise, it doesn't work.
Because you do need someone that's going to be able to push a defence back, make runs in behind, and Saka's the only one, and even Saka's not like blistering fast. Obviously you don't need to be quick to make runs in behind, but you want someone that's at least quick in terms of, you know, they can make that run in behind, they can push the defence back, so that gives you more time and space on the ball, innit? I mean, Gordon, you have that in. I think we'll talk about a solution later on, but you know, there are options in the squad. There's quality there. I think the back four hasn't really been an issue. I think Pickford's been solid. Guehi, Stones.
Guehi, big shout out to Guehi. I think
they've been good.
I think it's been great.
I think with what you're saying about Southgate, you can then look at left back. You know, taking Luke Shaw doesn't really make sense if
he's not fit.
And let's be honest, no disrespect, Shaw is a quality left back, but he's not at a level where you're like undeniable, like we have to take him. You know what I'm saying? You know, there's certain players
I think he's, in my opinion, is one of the better left backs in the league.
No, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying he's not. I'm saying, you know, there's certain players that even though you're not fit yet, I'm going to take you.
Like an Mbappe type thing.
You get what I'm saying? Shaw's not at that level of player where you're like, I'm going to do absolutely everything.
I think the reason why he's taken him is because we don't really have that profile. So that's why he's taken Luke Shaw, because he didn't chill well. Let's be honest, he's been shocking.
He's been shocking, but he can still do a job. He can still do a job. He can still offer that whip.
He stinks for England whenever I watch him play personally. I think we're having a conversation about it in the group chat. I think the lack of talent and success coming out of Chelsea has a key factor into it as well. Because normally with England squads, there's at least a few Chelsea players in that squad. I feel like one person that I marked out was like a Levi Cole that has, in my opinion, has the ability and the potential to be starting for England. But because obviously he's been hindered at Chelsea.
I think he's had quite a bit of injuries. He's been on and off. So
I feel like if we can get the best out of players domestically I feel like we have a very good crop of players.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's just getting the right profiles in place as well. There's a lot of young talent coming along. But that left back spot is an issue. It is a very big issue.
So yeah, I feel like that kind of hampers England's ability to be fluid in terms of, there's certain players that are missing that could help.
Yeah.
I know people talk about Rashford as well.
Yeah, but that's down to the manager though.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
I mean, look, Rashford on his day is better than Gordon, but at the end of the day, Gordon's on form and you can tell he has that fearlessness. So I feel like Gordon should be given a
What's
bit
the
more.
point of taking Gordon if you're not going to start him?
That's the thing, and we'll get onto the solution in terms of what would be our England team, because I feel like there are pieces in in the squad that can help fix some of the issues.
Yeah.
Because another thing that people have been mentioning about is the ability to progress the ball very well, innit?
Yeah.
Look, people are getting onto Rice about
ball progression and
I feel like that's
picking up
nonsense.
on a half time.
Because look, at the end of the day, the guy is an absolute ball magnet in terms of getting the ball and winning the ball back. If he's very simple in possession, I don't think that's a problem. What you have is someone next to him, like a Wharton or a Mainu, who's going to progress the ball play.
In front of him or behind him, though? That's the question.
It's next to him.
So, if you say you bring in a Mainu or a Wharton, where is Declan Rice playing?
A double pivot, isn't it?
So what, you would have them both on the same level?
Pretty much.
So who's going to be the player to pick up the ball from the centre-back?
Mainu will still drop deep, innit?
Yeah, I think that's the thing.
Or
so
Wilson will
you
drop
basically, in my opinion, if we're doing that, Declan Rice is pushing himself into an 8. Like kind of how they play in Arsenal, where Jorginho is the one who kind of cleans up. He progresses the ball from the centre backs. He picks up the ball on the half turn, carries the ball and brings it up. So we're swapping his role in a sense as well. But with
I don't necessarily think he has to push up like that. He can still offer another passing option, playing deeper. But you just know he's not the sole progressor in that sense.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying.
With the England midfield, I'll be real. There's two ways we could go with this, and I think they could both work and they could both not work. It's either you blow the whole thing up and you start from scratch, or you just adjust and tweak.
You just adjust and tweak.
I think what Southgate will do is he'll adjust and I think he'll play it safe. Okay, and then there's a third option, which is playing it safe. So what Southgate is probably going to do in the next game is going to start Conor Gallagher as the 8, Declan Rice as the 6, and then either Foden or Bellingham as the 10. This is what I think he should do. In fact, no, I don't know what he should. I'll be honest, I don't know. But I've got two options. You either blow the whole thing up, you play Mainu as a 8, 6, or whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. I say play Mainu and Wharton, maybe. And then Foden in the 10, possibly. If you want to, this is just for the next game, because maybe Jude looks a bit tired. Obviously, he's had a longer season than the rest of the players. So maybe rest Jude. Foden ain't really done much. So maybe just to give Foden a confidence boost, see what he's like in that 10, and have maybe a Wharton, or in fact, keep Declan Rice and have a Mainu or a Wharton playing as the 6, as the 8 even. Or you could just slightly tweak and adjust it. And kind of bring everyone back a little bit. So have Declan Rice as the 6, have Bellingham as the 8, because we all know Bellingham's a phenomenal 8. Obviously, Real Madrid don't have a 9. That's why he's been playing as the 10 or the false 9. Bring Bellingham into the 8, because Bellingham's a box crasher as well. That's what a lot of people forget.
Yeah.
He's a box to box. He can play the box to box role and he can crash the box. So put Bellingham as the 8, and then seeing as everyone's so obsessed with Foden in this 10 position, put him as a 10. Let him play there and let's see what he does. Because I'm sick of this Foden as a 10 conversation. I personally think that Bellingham is a better 10 than him. I feel like Foden is a very talented player, don't get it twisted. But I just feel like for England, and I've spoken about it before, I feel like in Pep's system, he has a lot working around him that makes him look shiny and makes him look like gold, because he's surrounded by gold.
I don't even think he looks like gold. I think he's just... like I always said, I just feel like he needs to start taking a bit more risk. In his game, I think he needs to be a bit more. Because you know what? I remember Pep used to say he plays the game too aggressively, like he's a bit too forward. When I see that, I don't really see that. I think I see a guy that's very passive. He sometimes make the wrong decision. Like he had a dribble where he should have passed to Kane. Yeah. But I just see a player that's at times is a bit too timid. Like we said, that obviously him and Bellingham are kind of in each other's path, so that kind of affects in terms of how they play in it. So
I feel like they can coexist, but
Yeah, they can. They
And that
can.
brings us on to left wing. I think left wing, you only kind of brought one left winger in Gordon.
Except if you want to play Eze as sort of the X Factor player.
Yeah, you could. Or on the left.
Because that guy is sort of like your game changer in terms of the way he can shift left or right. You know, he can strike for a ball left and right. You know, he's just a great player, innit?
Yeah.
But I guess in terms of balance, I'll play Gordon in terms of just giving that
A different dimension to
someone
to
that's
the team.
gonna make those running behind, be direct. Because I feel like, look, Saka's a very sort of all-rounded player, innit?
Yeah, Saka's the best player in the England squad, in my opinion.
But
in terms of playing for England, he plays the best for England, in my opinion, from what I've seen over the past couple of years.
Yeah.
I think keep Kane in the squad. Everyone's losing their mind over Harry Kane.
You don't take players like Kane out.
Just keep him in there. You just need to surround him with runners. And Gordon's a runner. Rashford could have been there as a runner.
Although I will say I don't think he should be doing the dropping deep.
Yeah, he can't because if the midfield's too crowded, that's the issue.
You don't have the feet for it like that.
Yeah.
So he should. Obviously, look, he's always gonna give you maybe those deft little flicks and stuff like that. I'm not saying he should totally alter his game, but I think there's also an appreciation. You got Foden, you got Bellingham, you got Saka that can work in that space. So you
also
don't need to
like when you're pressing, because we've seen Portugal do it. They have CR7 up front. He's not really a pressing guy, just selective pressing. Have pressing triggers. So you don't necessarily have to be pressing the ball all the time, but when Kane needs to trigger the press, he triggers the press at a certain time where he feels like, okay, let's trigger the press. But the team doesn't really know what's going on with the press. If you want a high pressing team, high octane team at all points, that's the only situation where I'll say maybe drop a Kane and put in Ollie Watkins. Because we know Ollie Watkins is very good at pressing. He's very good at running in behind. But I feel like that's a good option from the bench. But yeah, it's just Southgate just needs to be a bit more logical in a sense as well, and a bit more strong in his decisions, I feel like.
Yeah.